If you make plans enthusiastically and then cancel at the last minute feeling overwhelmed, you're not flaky or unreliable. Psychology reveals you're experiencing a disconnect between your future self and present self. And people who cancel plans are often highly empathetic people who underestimate their own energy limits. Let's talk about something that fills you with guilt and shame. You make plans. At the time, you're genuinely excited. You want to see your friends. You agree to the dinner, the party, the coffee date. But as the day approaches, something shifts. What felt exciting when it was a week away now feels impossible. The thought of getting ready, leaving your house, being socially on for hours, it's overwhelming. So you cancel. Sometimes hours before, sometimes the morning of, sometimes with a legitimate excuse, sometimes with a vague, not feeling well. And afterward, you feel terrible. You know you're letting people down. You know they think you're unreliable. You know you're getting a reputation as flaky. But here's what psychology reveals. Your plan canceling pattern isn't character weakness or selfishness. It's a complex combination of future self-disconnect, energy management miscalculation, social anxiety, and a fundamental mismatch between your intellectual desire for connection and your nervous system's capacity for social engagement. Research from behavioral psychology shows that when we make plans for the future, we're making decisions for a version of ourselves we can't actually access. Future self. Studies reveal that people consistently underestimate how they'll feel in the future because they're making decisions based on how they feel right now. When you make plans on Monday for Friday night, you're feeling good, rested, energized, optimistic. You imagine Friday, you will also feel that way. But when Friday actually arrives, you've had a stressful week, you're depleted, your social battery is at zero, and the thought of performing socially feels impossible. You're not being flaky. You're experiencing the reality that present you can't accurately predict the energy state of future you. Here's what separates chronic plan cancelers from reliable plan keepers. You have limited social energy, and you don't account for this when making commitments. Research on introverts and highly sensitive people shows that social interaction, even with people you love, is energetically expensive. Extroverts gain energy from socializing. Introverts and HSPs spend energy on socializing. You might genuinely want to see your friend, but wanting something doesn't mean you have the energy to do it. When you make plans, you're committing future you's energy without knowing how much will be available. It's like writing checks on an account with an unknown balance. Let's talk about the planning fallacy that psychology identifies. This is the tendency to underestimate how long tasks will take and how much energy they'll require. When you agree to dinner at 7 p.m., you're thinking, dinner, conversation, done. But your brain isn't calculating. Shower, get dressed, drive there, find parking, wait for table, make small talk, navigate conversation dynamics, manage social anxiety, eat while talking, figure out check situation, drive home exhausted, decompress for an hour afterward. The actual energy cost of just dinner is enormous. You're not flaky for canceling. You're responding to the reality that the task is bigger than you calculated when you agreed. Here's the anxiety component that people miss. For many chronic plan cancelers, the anxiety builds as the event approaches. Psychologists call this anticipatory anxiety, the dread that grows the closer you get to the commitment. You might feel fine about plans when they're abstract and far away, but as they become concrete and imminent, your nervous system starts sending alarm signals. What if the conversation is awkward? What if you can't think of things to say? What if you're stuck there longer than you want? What if you're too tired to be good company? The anxiety becomes so overwhelming that canceling feels like the only way to stop it. You're not avoiding your friend. You're avoiding the anxiety. Research on people pleasers reveals another crucial factor. You say yes when you want to say no. When someone suggests plans, your immediate internal reaction might be, I don't think I can do that. But your mouth says, yes, sounds great. Why? Because you don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to seem antisocial. You don't want them to stop inviting you. so you agree to things your nervous system knows it can't handle, creating an inevitable cancel situation. You're not flaky, you're failing to honor your own limits at the commitment stage because you're prioritizing their feelings over your capacity. Let's address the genuine desire for connection that complicates this. You're not antisocial. You actually want friendship and connection. When you make plans, you mean it. The problem is that your intellectual desire for connection doesn't always align with your emotional and physical capacity for social engagement. This creates cognitive dissonance. You want to go and don't want to go simultaneously. Research shows that ambivalence like this is exhausting and often resolves in the direction of self-protection. Canceling feels like protecting yourself from an experience your nervous system is signaling will be too much. Here's what people don't understand. By the time you cancel, you've often been battling yourself for hours or days. You've tried to talk yourself into going. You've given yourself pep talks. You've minimized your feelings. Just go, it'll be fine. But your nervous system is screaming that it doesn't have capacity. Canceling isn't your first choice. It's your last resort after trying and failing to override your body's signals. This internal battle is invisible to the people you're canceling on. They just see the cancellation. They don't see the struggle. Studies on decision fatigue and choice overload reveal another pattern. You might be someone who overschedules, saying yes to multiple things, assuming you'll have energy for all of them. But as the week unfolds and demands accumulate, you realize you've overcommitted. Something has to give. Social plans often get cut first because they feel more optional than work or family obligations. You're not prioritizing poorly. You're making realistic adjustments to an unrealistic schedule that you created when you were in a different energy state. Let's talk about the guilt cycle that makes this worse. Every time you cancel, you feel guilty. Guilt makes you compensate by saying yes to the next invitation, even if you're not sure you can manage it. Then you cancel again. More guilt. More compensatory yes. More inevitable cancel. Research shows that guilt-driven behavior often perpetuates the exact pattern you're trying to break because you're making decisions from guilt instead of capacity. You need to break the cycle by saying no upfront instead of yes, then cancel. Here's the introvert recharge component. Research shows introverts need alone time to recharge after social interaction, and even before social interaction. If you've had a demanding week of work meetings, family obligations, and general peopling, you might need an entire weekend of solitude to restore your energy. But you made Friday night plans on Monday before the week depleted you. By Friday, your body is demanding rest, not more social output. Canceling isn't flakiness. It's your nervous system protecting you from burnout. Clinical psychology research on social anxiety shows that avoidance behaviors often stem from previous negative social experiences. If you've had awkward interactions, been judged, or felt socially inadequate, your brain learns to associate social plans with potential threat. As the event approaches, your threat detection system activates, creating anxiety that feels unbearable. Canceling provides immediate relief from this anxiety, which reinforces the canceling behavior. You're not weak. You're responding to a learned protective pattern. Let's address the energy accounting mismatch. Some people naturally have abundant social energy. They can work all day, go to dinner, then meet friends for drinks, then text into the night. If you're not one of these people, if your social energy is limited and precious, you need to account for this when making plans. The problem is that social norms are set by high-energy extroverts. Just dinner, it's no big deal, might be objectively true for them. For you, it's a significant energy expenditure that you need to plan for and budget carefully. Research on highly sensitive people, HSPs, reveals that they process social stimuli more deeply, which is energetically expensive. You're not just having dinner, you're processing everyone's emotions, managing the sensory environment, noise, lighting, smells, navigating social dynamics, regulating your own emotional state, and maintaining conversation while all of this is happening. No wonder you're exhausted before you even arrive. Your canceling isn't rudeness. It's recognition that you don't have the processing capacity for this level of stimulation. Here's the honest conversation about modern friendship. We've romanticized spontaneous socializing and constant availability while ignoring that many people need more recovery time between interactions than others. Your friends might be able to see each other twice a week. You might need 2 weeks between social events to feel ready. Neither is wrong. They're different energy systems. The problem is that your limitations get labeled as flakiness instead of recognized as legitimate boundaries. Studies show that the shift to text-based communication has created a paradox. It's easier than ever to make plans, quick text exchange, but also easier to cancel, another quick text. The low barrier to both committing and backing out means people make more plans than they can realistically keep. You're not uniquely flaky. You're participating in a cultural pattern where overcommitment and last-minute canceling have been normalized by technology. Let's talk about practical solutions that honor your reality. First, build in buffer time before saying yes. Let me check my energy and get back to you instead of immediate yes. Second, suggest flexible plans. Let's plan to connect this week, but keep it loose, removes the pressure of fixed commitments. Third, be honest about your limits. I'm an every other week socializer, not a weekly one, sets realistic expectations. Fourth, suggest lower energy alternatives. Coffee instead of dinner, walk instead of party, one-on-one instead of group. Fifth, stop making guilt-based commitments. If your immediate internal response is reluctance, honor it. The truth about canceling plans is this: you're not flaky, unreliable, or a bad friend. You're someone whose social energy is limited, whose nervous system needs more recovery time than you account for, and whose people-pleasing tendencies lead you to overcommit. You genuinely want connection. You just need it in smaller, more carefully spaced doses than the people around you. That's not a character flaw. That's self-knowledge that you need to start honoring at the commitment stage instead of the cancellation stage. So if you cancel plans last minute, stop beating yourself up about it. Start saying no earlier instead of yes, then cancel later. Start honoring your energy limits instead of pretending they don't exist. Start building friendships that can accommodate your real capacity instead of your imagined one. You're not flaky. You're protecting your energy. And that's not selfish. That's survival. Comment bait line. Comment canceled if you've ever agreed to plans on Monday and regretted it by Friday. Let's find everyone who makes plans for a version of themselves that doesn't exist.